Tracking numbers appear on your website or on your offline advertising so that you're able to link a particular call back to a specific advertising campaign. In general, our customers set up a tracking number for each advertising channel that they want to track. In our system, advertising channels are called sources. Each time you set up a tracking number, you need to assign two things to it. You need to assign a receiving number, which is where your tracking number will be ringing to, and you need to assign a source, which is the advertising channel that that particular tracking number is tracking. And each time a call comes in through that number, the system, if it's tracking an online source, is going to try to match a website visitor to that particular caller. We often get the question of how many tracking numbers do I need? In general, we recommend that you be pretty granular with your tracking numbers, and that way your reporting will be granular. And for online sources, you should aim to have one tracking number for every 100 daily visitors coming from that source. So when you come into our system to buy a tracking number, there's lots of different ways that you can search for a tracking number. So you can search by area code, toll-free, you can look for a particular address, or you can try to match towards a phone number. You can also search by country. We have tracking numbers available in about 30 different countries at this point. Now, once you've bought your numbers, you're then going to be able to come into your Manage Tracking Numbers page and set up different components of your numbers. So I mentioned that each tracking number needs to have a receiving number and a source. So let me tell you a little bit more about those two things. A receiving number, again, is where you want these calls to be ringing to. You can add as many receiving numbers as you want. So once you have more than one receiving number entered here, you're going to have the option to route your calls either simultaneously or round robin. Simultaneous is where all your receiving numbers will receive the calls, and whoever answers first will get the call. Round robin is where you evenly distribute calls across a group of receiving numbers. You can also set a call schedule for each of your receiving numbers. So maybe you want some receiving numbers to get calls during the day and other receiving number to get calls at night or during the week or on the weekend. You can set up those types of schedules here. Now, in terms of setting up your tracking source, you would choose from a variety of kind of pre-packaged sources that we have, which will be automatically programmed for you, such as Google Organic, Google Paid, Facebook, Direct, which will track anybody directly coming to your website. Referral will track anybody who's coming to your website from another site. And then custom and offline. Custom is where you can set up any type of source that you want to track. So maybe here's where you'd want to track LinkedIn visitors, or maybe you're doing advertising on a blog and you want to track visitors from that particular blog site. You can set up that here. You can name it anything you want, and you'd program it based on either referring URL or landing URL. Offline is what you would choose if you're doing any kind of offline advertising. So TV, print, radio, anywhere where you're not going to be wanting our system to necessarily track website visitors associated with that caller. So situations where somebody's going to see an ad and call you directly on one of your phone numbers. Now, after you've got your tracking numbers purchased and set up, you have to remember to install the tracking code on your website. The tracking code is what allows the phone numbers on your website to dynamically swap to a tracking number, and it also allows you to collect important visitor information about each of your website visitors so that we can match a visitor to each of your callers. You can find the tracking script within the Numbers menu. Go to Tracking Code, and you'll see the code that you can copy and paste onto your website here.